Before you hear what I'm about to say, I need you to promise me one thing. Don't listen with your ears alone, listen with your heart. Because tonight isn't about goodbye, it's about truth, the kind of truth we often hide until time leaves us no other choice. I'm leaving tonight, and maybe our paths won't cross again the way they once did. But before I go, there's one thing you deserve to know, one truth that has lived quietly inside me, waiting for the right moment. If you've ever loved, lost, hoped, or wondered what someone never had the courage to say, then stay with me. This message might be exactly what your heart has been waiting to hear. There comes a moment in every person's life when staying feels heavier than leaving. It isn't because the place is terrible. It isn't because the people are cruel. Sometimes everything around you looks perfectly normal, yet something deep inside keeps whispering that you no longer belong where you've been standing. Most people ignore that whisper because comfort is familiar, even when it slowly steals their future. They convince themselves that waiting one more day will somehow change everything. But days become months, months become years, and before they realize it, they have built a life that feels safe from the outside, but empty on the inside. Tonight, I'm leaving, not because I hate what I've known, not because I'm running away from anyone. I'm leaving because there is a difference between escaping and choosing a new direction. One comes from fear, the other comes from courage. Courage isn't loud, it doesn't announce itself, it doesn't need applause. It quietly packs its bags while everyone else is asleep and walks toward a future no one else can see. People often believe success begins with talent. Others think it begins with money, connections, or luck. But none of those things matter if you remain in a place that no longer allows you to grow. A seed cannot become a tree if it refuses to leave the shell that once protected it. Growth always asks for something in return. Sometimes it asks for comfort. Sometimes it asks for certainty. Sometimes it asks you to let go of a version of yourself that no longer fits. That is the hardest part. We become attached to familiar routines, familiar conversations, familiar expectations. Even when they limit us, they feel safe. The unknown has a way of making our hearts race. It fills our minds with questions that have no immediate answers. What if I fail? What if I lose everything? What if people laugh? What if I'm not enough? Those questions visit everyone. The people you admire have heard those same questions. The difference is they didn't allow those questions to become permanent addresses. Fear knocked on the door, but they refused to let it move in. Every meaningful journey begins with uncertainty. No map has ever shown the exact path to your future, because your future is created while you're walking, not while you're waiting. The road becomes visible one step at a time. That's why standing still feels logical, but rarely creates extraordinary results. Think about how often people postpone their lives. They wait for confidence before taking action. They wait for permission before chasing dreams. They wait until they feel ready. The strange thing about readiness is that it usually arrives after you've already begun. Confidence is built through movement. Strength is built through resistance. Wisdom is built through mistakes. Patience is built through delays. None of these qualities can be purchased or borrowed. They are earned. That's why leaving matters. Leaving isn't always about changing cities, jobs, or relationships. Sometimes the greatest departure happens inside your own mind. You leave behind excuses that once sounded reasonable. You leave behind habits that quietly robbed you of your potential. You leave behind the belief that your past has the authority to decide your future. Imagine carrying a backpack filled with stones every single day. After a while, the weight begins to feel normal. You stop noticing how exhausted you are because you've become used to the burden. Then one day, someone removes the backpack, and suddenly you realize how light walking was always supposed to feel. Many people are carrying invisible backpacks, old disappointments, broken promises, failures they cannot forgive, words spoken years ago that still echo every morning. They don't notice how much those memories shape every decision they make. Success doesn't ask you to pretend those experiences never happened. It asks you to stop letting them lead your life. Your history explains you. It does not define you. There is a powerful difference between remembering where you've been and living there forever. The future belongs to people who understand that today's choices matter more than yesterday's circumstances. Every sunrise offers a silent invitation. Begin again. You don't need a perfect plan. You need an honest reason. When your reason becomes stronger than your excuses, your direction changes naturally. Life rarely rewards hesitation. It rewards consistent effort. Small actions repeated with discipline eventually create results that appear impossible to those who only watched from a distance. People often celebrate success without seeing the invisible years behind it. They notice the victory. They never notice the lonely mornings, the difficult conversations, the quiet sacrifices, the countless moments when giving up would have been easier than continuing. Real success is built long before anyone applauds. It grows in silence. It grows while nobody believes in you. It grows when your only audience is your own conscience. There will always be people who misunderstand your decisions. Some will think you've changed. Some will think you've become distant. Some will assume you're chasing something unrealistic. Let them think what they want. Other people's opinions are temporary. The consequences of abandoning your own purpose can last a lifetime. There comes a point where pleasing everyone becomes another way of betraying yourself, not through anger, not through rebellion, but through slow surrender. You begin shrinking your dreams so others feel comfortable. You lower your standards so nobody feels challenged. You stop speaking honestly because silence seems easier. Eventually, you no longer recognize the person staring back in the mirror. That is a far greater loss than failure. Failure teaches, regret only reminds. Every chapter of life eventually closes. The question is whether you closed it intentionally or allowed time to close it for you. The strongest people aren't the ones who never feel afraid. They're the ones who continue walking despite uncertainty. They understand that courage is rarely comfortable. It often feels lonely before it feels rewarding. There is beauty in beginning again, because every new beginning proves that hope survived everything life tried to destroy. Hope is stronger than disappointment. Discipline is stronger than motivation. Purpose is stronger than comfort. One honest decision can redirect an entire lifetime. That's why tonight matters, not because I'm disappearing, not because this is the end, but because every ending quietly introduces the possibility of a beginning that could become greater than anything left behind. There is one thing I need you to know before I leave, not because I'm asking you to remember me, not because I want to leave behind a perfect image, but because some truths arrive too late for the people who spend their lives waiting for the right moment to hear them. This is one of those truths. Success has never belonged to the loudest person in the room. It has never belonged to the one with the most followers, the biggest title, or the brightest spotlight. Success belongs to the person who keeps showing up when nobody is watching. The world celebrates the result. Life rewards the process. Most people spend years trying to look successful. Very few spend years becoming successful. There is a difference. One is built for applause. The other is built to last. The person who chases attention often loses direction. The person who chases purpose eventually earns respect. You don't need everyone to understand your journey. You only need enough courage to continue it. There will be mornings when nothing seems to change. You work, you learn, you improve, you sacrifice, and yet the results remain invisible. Those are the days that shape your future. Anyone can stay committed when life feels exciting. Character is revealed when progress is slow. The strongest builders don't stop because the foundation cannot be seen. They know the tallest structures are supported by the deepest work underground. Your life works the same way. Everything meaningful takes longer than people expect. That is why patience is not weakness. Patience is strength under control. The world has become addicted to speed. People want instant success, instant confidence, instant recognition, instant answers. But the greatest achievements have always respected time. A tree does not apologize for growing slowly. A river does not rush because someone is impatient. The sunrise never arrives early simply because someone is tired of the night. Nature understands something we often forget. Growth follows its own rhythm. Your responsibility is not to force the outcome. Your responsibility is to remain faithful to the work. There will always be someone ahead of you, someone earning more, someone moving faster, someone receiving more attention. If comparison becomes your habit, peace becomes impossible. The race that matters has never been against another person. It has always been against yesterday's version of yourself. Become a little wiser, a little stronger, a little more disciplined. Those small improvements seem invisible in a single day, but over years, they create a completely different life. Do not underestimate ordinary days. Extraordinary lives are built from ordinary days used well. Most opportunities arrive dressed as responsibility. Most breakthroughs arrive after frustration. Most victories arrive after people have already decided you would fail. That is why persistence is so valuable. Pertinence outlasts doubt. Persistence outlasts fear. Persistence outlasts criticism. Eventually, persistence reaches places that talent alone never could. Protect your attention. Where your attention goes, your future follows. If you spend your days feeding distractions, your dreams slowly become strangers. If you spend your days feeding your purpose, your future begins to recognize you. Every hour is making an investment. The question is simple. Are you investing in the life you want or merely escaping the life you have? No one can answer that for you. Not your family, not your friends, not the people who believe in you, and certainly not the people who don't. The decision belongs to the person you become every morning when you choose what deserves your time. Learn to become comfortable with silence. Silence is where clear thinking begins. Silence is where honest questions appear. Silence is where you finally hear your own voice instead of everyone else's expectations. The world will always have opinions. Some will encourage you, others will doubt you. Neither should become the foundation of your identity. If praise controls you, criticism will destroy you. Build your confidence on your values, not on public approval. The strongest people carry something invisible, not pride, not ego, responsibility. They understand that every decision writes another sentence in the story of their life. That story is written daily, not once, not someday. Today, the future is not waiting somewhere ahead. It is quietly being created by what you choose to do right now. One conversation, one habit, one promise kept, one excuse rejected, 1 hour used wisely. These things appear small until enough of them gather together to change everything. Before I leave tonight, remember this. Never allow temporary comfort to become permanent limitation. Never confuse being busy with making progress. Never believe that your best days are behind you simply because life became difficult. Some of the greatest chapters begin after the pages everyone expected to be the ending. Keep moving, keep learning, keep becoming. The person you are capable of becoming is still waiting for you to meet them.